We hear a lot of perspectives on the Mankind podcast. Inclusion of a guest is not an endorsement of their views, and the opinions expressed here do not always represent the mission or values of the Mankind Project USA.
G'day and welcome to another live recording of the
Mankind Podcast. Wait, let me do this part because I always miss the part that you say. The show where we break the molds of modern manhood to prove
that there is in fact more than one way to be a man. We are simplifying manhood.
We are making more complicated things that we take for granted.
That's an oxymoron of a statement right there. So we are, in many ways, here to discuss the journey as men and discuss very interesting, incredible folks with them about many of the trials, tribulations, challenges, things that we face as men, and so that we can support you in your journey and how you show up as a husband, as a father, as a brother, as a son, as a citizen. And today it's Boysen and I. And yeah, we've got some things to talk about. Man, what's been happening?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, welcome back. The podcast got a couple of episodes from me in the last couple of weeks because you were away in Australia. Pictures on social media. Tell what's been going on, man.
Man, it's so yeah, it was kind of bang, bang, bang where we had our vacation. We went to the beach, and so you were at the helm, and then we had our anniversary, and then on our anniversary, got the unfortunate news that my brother's partner miscarried full term, which was just absolutely devastating. So we made the decision right then and there to actually buy flights for myself, my wife, and my daughter to go over just for a week. So 2 days of travel either side, but just to be there with family, because the emotional heavy lifting that my mum and my sister and my dad were putting in was, they were getting to their breaking point. So we're very happy we went. It was very stressful trying to figure out getting over there and getting back. But we're so thankful we went, because you could just feel the depths of it, and just the agony that my brother and my sister-in-law were going through. My brother's a cards to his chest introvert. You ask him how he's doing, you're going to get good, right? And I've never seen him that way, and it's kind of how my brain works. Like, if I look at these things, there's always silver linings to pull. And coming away from that trip, I've never been closer to my brother, which I'm really thankful to bring that home with me. Is that he and I, our relationship just evolved. My relationship with my nephews. A lot of my job was just like entertaining the nephews so they could figure out logistics for the funeral and that they could actually be together, because of course she didn't want to go back to the house where the crib was built and all that stuff. So just very emotional, very difficult, and tricky for us to navigate, because, we hit second trimester ourselves there. So this is my announcement that we are pregnant.
Congratulations to you.
I trolled my followers, i.e. followers Facebook. It's always just family and friends. I trolled them by saying, "So proud of my wife, 13 weeks sober today." And she followed that with, "Brandon, this is a horrible way to tell people that we're pregnant."
You could have just told them that we were pregnant.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I did the same thing when we got engaged. I said, "Christine and I are no longer dating." just to leave people in that weird in-between zone. But no, happy to be back. We're finally not jet lagged. My 2-year-old is finally sleeping through the night. That's the hardest thing. But yeah, just the agony and the beauty of it all. Yeah.
It's kind of what we're here to talk about, is the agony and the beauty of it all on some level, all through this little bit that we're going to be doing.
Totally. Well, what about yourself, man? What's been taking up your focus and energy?
Wow. It's 24/7 preparations around here. And in my world. The Mankind Project. So listeners may be aware, may not be aware. Mankind Project's been around since 1985. So we are celebrating our 40th anniversary, and we're actually doing a big live gala event in Tucson, Arizona, the weekend of September 26, 27, 28. There's registrations still open. We've got about 160 people who are registered to come. We've got folks coming from all around the world. And the event is going to be some reflection about what we've done, what we've been able to accomplish. 40 years is a long time, 4 decades, generations of connection, generations of transformation for families like your family, in fact. And we're also going to be talking about, so where is it that we stand as an organization, and where is it that we stand as a culture, and what is our responsibility and commitment to doing this work that we've been doing. So I've been very, very engaged there and grateful. A whole lot of support, whole lot of people leaning in and offering. There's going to be some really cool stuff that we do at the event. And it'll also be an opportunity for guys who haven't seen each other in decades to be in the same room and reconnect.
Honoring, blessing, connection. Yes, 40 years. I can say this very confidently. I wouldn't have anything that I have in my life today if it wasn't for this work and this organization. So eternally grateful here, and sad to not be able to make it, but I guess I'll just have to go to the 50 year.
You can go to the 50 year. Yes, there you go.
Because I'll be able to hand out the official Brandon Clift Award for outstanding personality in the outstanding excellence in all things excellent.
Brandon Clift's International Award for accents and impersonations.
Ooh, and impersonations. I don't impersonate people, Boysen. I don't stoop to that level occasionally. So.
Sure.
That's cool.
So that's kind of where I've been focused with a lot of my attention, and happy that my wife's going to come with me, and my mother-in-law is going to come with us out to, so they're going to go do spa stuff and hang out, and
nice.
It'll be fun.
Heck yeah. Well, just quickly before we dive in, I have to give a shout out to another podcast. It helped me get through the long legs, the 33 hours of door-to-door travel from Chattanooga to Australia and back. The Telepathy Tapes. Boysen, I've already
started telling me something about this. What's going on here?
The Telepathy Tapes. So what if, for the listeners out there and you, Boysen, can you open your mind to the possibility that non-speaking autistic people can actually communicate telepathically? Oh, I'm cinching my tinfoil hat on hard here. All right. That non-speaking autistic people can communicate telepathically. Now, teachers and parents have been talking about this phenomenon for decades, yet the risk of speaking about it is so high because, one, you've already got parents who are dealing with the social challenges of being able to even be out in public and be with people when you have these kids that have such a difficult time processing so much information, right? And then you've got teachers who can lose their jobs by even talking about this stuff, right? Well, this podcast illuminates and brings to the forefront of our consciousness these incredible cases. They bring in all these different people and young kids too. For example, Amelia, she's 10 and speaks 7 languages. Not verbally, she can type it, write it through a speaking device. But like, come on, just incredible minds. But you ask her when she learnt it, she said she learnt it before she was even born. Right? Just all these incredible phenomena. It blew my mind. That's the last thing I'll say about it is check it out. The Telepathy Tapes is one of the top podcasts of 2024. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And it completely shattered my black and white kind of scientific paradigm of like, Big Bang happened. Everything's explained by evolution. We create gods to control people and blah, blah, blah. Like, nah, I've been shook after listening to this. I've been shook because there are things that we can't understand, that we can't measure, that we can't observe in our current materialistic scientific lens. And there's evidence out there for it. So anywho, that's my spiel. Very excited about this.
Okay, there you go. A podcast recommendation.
Telepathy Tapes. Check it out. Listen to the first episode. Just listen to the first. Oh, Kendra's in?
Kendra is listening to this right now at some point in the future, and she'll go, okay, Telepathy Tapes. Okay.
Yeah. It's so funny when I bring this up to different people. I know who are like my diehard, like alternative thinkers, because they're like, yeah, I bet that's true. Like they're already like, yeah, I bet. Shared it with some of my friends that are in education that work with special needs, and they were just like, oh yeah, 100%. Like, wow, can confirm. So,
thank you.
Yeah, there you go. So, we'll shift gears now to something that, if you aren't aware, you've probably just been coming from a silent retreat, right? And logging back in that, you know, we're all probably getting inundated right now by the news of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a prominent figure in right-wing circles and spaces, very, how do I say this? Very much aligned with the Trump candidacy, Trump presidency, and played a huge role in galvanizing younger audiences, younger folk into voting for Trump. So has been quite a polarizing and divisive figure in his time. And yeah, he was murdered in broad daylight at Utah Valley University in front of a crowd of people, and the most devastating part, in front of his wife and kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's very real. And a lot of discourse is occurring online, as probably all of you are seeing as well. And Boysen and I just wanted to, rather than avoid and duck this even being a thing, I'm feeling a lot around this right now. I know Boysen's feeling a lot around this right now. And I know just about every circle I exist in, people are feeling feels about it. So that's the tee up to what we're going to discuss here just in a moment.
And I think that where we said that we wanted to bring this was about how complex it is. And I'm on socials and I'm reading a lot, and there have been a number of different folks who bringing perspectives forward that resonate in my body around the idea that, I had nothing. I have no alignment with the way that Charlie Kirk spoke or his opinions on things. And it's still abhorrent, and it's still wrong, and it's still not okay, and it's still damaging. And, I have young adult kids, and the other thing that, like, we're living in an age where, my young adult kid opens up TikTok and there's the video playing, full sound, no warning, no nothing, like right into their brains.
No consent. No consent to watch it, right? It's just right there.
No consent. So that happens, and then, half an hour later we get in the car to drive to school, and the impact on our psyches of the level of exposure that we are all getting to this kind of violence, I think, is one of the things that is impacting me, impacting my family for sure.
It is tricky holding multiple feelings, right? Because yes. I too was not a fan, and it stirred up all these things in me, because I'm immediately seeing who in my social sphere online were big supporters, right? And those who weren't, who are making their opinions known right now. And I hate that my brain immediately is like, oh, yep, camp one, camp red, camp blue, right? And has just done this sorting thing and goes into these assumptions of like, oh, if they're saying R.I.P. Charlie Kirk, they must be conservative and they must believe everything that blah blah blah. Like, and I just hate that my brain goes into that sorting mode in a way. It shows just how sucked into the narrative I can get of like trying to set up a binary and trying to understand people's motives and things. But I would say the thing that, so I've been watching his videos more and trying to be like, okay, you know, I even did the search, like top 10 worst things he's ever said, right? Just to trying to get a read on like the impact someone can have in their now very short life of things that they've said. And, you know, the toughest thing was trying to find a quote that wasn't paraphrased, that wasn't, you know, shared a bunch of times and that changed multiple times, or it's out of context and such. But just to try and get a read of the guy. And even that endeavor was just, I don't know, a waste of time. It really was a waste of time, because it made me have these feelings that I wanted to like share my thoughts and opinions. But the thing I checked myself on is like, who gives a flying F about my opinions on this right now? Why do I have to come out and say something? And I'm just seeing that on my channels and on my feeds, is everyone giving their 2 cents about, you know, play silly games, win silly prizes. He did this to himself by being a bigot, right? Or others saying things on a different kind of scale or spectrum. So yeah, just very mixed bag.
Which is all real and which is all understandable, and many of the opinions being expressed out there and perspectives being expressed are understandable at different levels. And when I come back to it, I'm trying to think about, okay, how do we bring the work that we do in the Mankind Project into this? And I've seen some folks talking about it in a way that I think is compelling. We have these, you know, ideas around shadow and around projection and around the kind of Jungian ideas that whatever I most despise, whatever I find most abhorrent in other people, most egregious in other people, is living inside of me somewhere. And where can I find that? You know, where am I Charlie Kirk? Where am I the shooter?
Where am I Charlie Kirk? Yeah. Where am I the shooter? Yes.
Where am I willing to, demonize people in that way? Where am I willing to express opinions that enforce domination over others? Where am I willing to believe that I am 100% righteous and correct in the way that I understand the world and the way that I understand the universe? Where am I doing a sorting hat, as you said? Where am I doing a sorting hat with human beings, worthy of life, not worthy of life?
Yeah.
Worthy of love, not worthy of love. Worthy of justice, not worthy of justice.
Yeah.
Where do I do those things? And can I pull it back into that and take it as a moment of reflection, a time of reflection for that? And then the other piece that I bring from the Mankind Project is somatically, you know, this kind of stuff hijacks our limbic systems. It hijacks our brains.
Yes.
It hijacks the part of my brain that is looking for a threat. Right? So when did I learn? When did I learn that this happened? At Planet Fitness. On the elliptical. And I experienced in my body, what does it mean that I'm surrounded by people right now? What does it mean that I'm surrounded by people, most of whom don't look like me right now? What are they going to be thinking about me, seeing me? What are they going to project onto me, the middle-aged white guy on the elliptical machine? You know, all of this kind of stuff. And how can I check my own body and check my own nervous system to bring myself back into alignment when everything in my brain is like threat, 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 threat?
Well, and when do we I'll make an I statement. When do I spend any time on my phone? Am I in a position, scrolling through social media, am in that state of presence with my body? The only presence I have with my body when I'm on my phone and social media is when I'm on the bathroom, on the toilet.
Oof. Yeah.
You know, like, that's it. Like, no, I am so sucked into whatever my thumb is directing, and not in a place of, how's this showing up for me right now? It's like, no, the frame isn't there to be in that state of mind in that moment, to check myself and go, okay, I'm seeing people, I'm putting people in this sorting hat right now based on what I'm reading, what I'm seeing, and why is that? Why is that the case? I want to give a shout out to dear friend of the podcast, Dr. David Gruder.
Hey, yeah, good.
He's someone that did a post that I believe, what do you call it? Do you call it towing the line? Do you call it existing between multiple worlds? Like, just was able to not get sucked into any one narrative or the other, but just communicate to the thing that we're witnessing right now, or at least it landed for me that way. So I'd like to read what he posted. And so he said, on September 10th, Charlie Kirk was assassinated in Utah today. I hope you will join me in sending prayers to his loved ones and for our country's healing. The ways I disagreed and agreed with his positions don't in any way matter. What matters to me is that all of us across the political and ideological spectrum join together to unconditionally reject all forms of political violence, including but not limited to physical violence. I hope you will add your voice in reaffirming that commitment as one ingredient in how we join hands across the political spectrum to restore our country's greatness and domestic tranquility. And in brackets, he put the phrase that's used in our Constitution's preamble. Domestic tranquility. There is a world of difference between disagreement on issues and violent words and actions towards people who don't share our perspectives. This post is not a place to argue about the issues, nor is it a place to post political or personal smears about people or groups who don't agree with Kirk's perspectives or comments supporting his perspectives. It is a place for human-to-human compassion and joining together in a foundational shared value of opposing political violence in any form. And I'm 45 comments, so I'm not going to read through to see if anyone followed those rules or those suggestions. But in most of places I've seen where people have done something like what David so eloquently typed, it gets into discourse really quickly.
Really fast. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that out. We're connecting with that political violence of any sort, right? And some of what's been out there is around pointing out the fact that the political violence that I'm willing to ignore, when the political violence that I use as grievance, right? Like what I take on as reason, as justification, as all of these things versus what I will ignore out there because it doesn't suit the narrative that I'm carrying about the world and the way the world works. And again, back to the somatics, when I sit there, I can't help but experience grief. I can't help but experience just a deep sense of sadness about the amount of violence that is occurring here and there, right now in the world. And that's a really uncomfortable place to be. It's much easier to go to righteousness, attack, blame, dismiss, numb, be insensitive to, get desensitized to the amount than to be in the really difficult and uncomfortable position of recognizing how much violence and destruction is happening.
So we have choices. We're able to make empowered choices from this place as to how we navigate the I don't know if it's the right phrase, cool down of this, horrific thing that has occurred. And I would say that for me personally, the challenge is to engage, but not in the way that we've been talking about, but it's to engage with human beings who may very well not agree with what I agree with or think the way I think. Kenny Andrzejewski, who's been on the show, he was fantastic in our episode talking about how to stay human in hard conversations. Because that's a lot of his work, is helping organizations recognize like how they can cross bridges and barriers to entry for human connection. And he did a really great video following this, following it all coming out, and was just talking about like, before your neighbor comes knocking on your door, like get to know them. So that doesn't have to happen, right? It doesn't have to get to that place. Like just get to know them. And I'm really proud of my men's group because we are politically so far spread across all spectrums, right? We got our libertarians, we got our folks that, very proudly wear the hat, the red hat. And then we have others who feel strongly in the opposite place, but we sit in circle and we connect. And I judge we still love each other. And so that's why I love this work, and why I believe the work that we do in our organization is the antidote to what we're experiencing in the world right now. And the only way that we can get that antidote out there is for folks to actively go out and create that connection.
Thank you. Heard. And recognition also that I don't get to choose that for anybody else, which I think is another place that sometimes folks like us can go, which is, well, we're doing it.
Yeah.
You should be able to do it too.
Yeah.
Which is another kind of imposition of my perspective onto other people, to try and force other people into believing as I believe, or seeing the world as I see the world. And all I can do is express my own love, express my own welcome, express my own boundaries, which are also healthy. If this happens, here's what I'm going to do. Not about imposing rules on you, but if this happens, here's what I'm going to do. Here are my boundaries, is how I live in the world. And trying to see human beings as human beings rather than just perspectives or opinions.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But I guess, considering I have a mic in front of me and I'm not muted right now, nor can you mute me, I will also say, from what we know from over 200 episodes and having folks like Dr. Niobe Way on the show, is that, we're in a connection crisis. And
yes.
so my challenge to you, who may be in that place of like, easy for you to say, yes, Brandon, like,
yeah, right,
cool, maybe there are more obstacles for you to be able to get out and create that connection. Like, how could you need even more reason to do the work to make it happen, right? And I'm not going to tell you what that work is. I can't, like you said. But if I could take a time machine to a time and place, I would go to Elliot Rodger, right, who's responsible for one of the worst school shootings we've experienced in our nation, and just give the dude a hug and just connect with him. Because I read his what do you call the bloody thing, memoir or whatever. I read it in preparation for my interview with Niobe, and it broke my heart. I felt so much sadness for this person who did a horrific thing. And his whole 111 page thing, manifesto was just talking about how lonely he was, how rejected he felt. And so, if not for your own sake, for someone else's, show your humanity, invite them to feel theirs, and let's create a shared humanity. We don't have to agree on everything, but we can remind each other, like, there are ways that we can work through these things as human beings outside of our echo chambers.
Jim Katona. Hey, Jim Katona.
Hmm.
The RESPECT acronym jumps up to me. Remember, everyone suffers painful experiences. Communicate tenderly.
Hmm.
And that every person I'm bumping into out there is holding on to burdens that I don't know about. And their limbic system, their nervous system, their body is in some state of panic or grief or fear or comfort that I don't know about. And so how can I greet the world with that openness to what somebody else is experiencing?
And so I love calling out great segues. Segue. It's Suicide Prevention Month.
Yeah.
And so I know, and I love to share that moments after attempting to drive my car into a tree to get myself out of a panic attack and a whole months and months of lead up of depression, a man texted me who was going to an I group I recommended he go to, but I wasn't going to it. And he said, "Oi, D-head," because that's how he spoke. "How come I'm doing all this men's work stuff and you're never here?" And so we're leading into Suicide Prevention Month. That text potentially, I don't have a crystal ball of how that all would have panned out, saved my life. And so what do we have in store, Boysen? What are we wanting to do here in this month of September?
Yeah, I have. So I already have a conversation that's recorded with a man whose son committed suicide, who set up an organization that is geared toward helping a very specific kind of college student with facing this. We have Julian Devereaux, who is one of the past chairs of the Mankind Project USA, to engage in a conversation about National Suicide Prevention Month and the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, AFSP, which a Mankind Project has supported for a number of years. And I invite you to go back just a couple of episodes to the episode on grief with David Kessler. That recognition I've learned just in the last month about two men from the Mankind Project community who have suicided. And this is a very large community. And like, this is happening all around us.
Yeah.
Men are especially susceptible to taking action on suicidal ideation. Yeah. So being able to talk about it, have it out there, not hide from this is real.
Yeah. One of those men was in my community. And yeah, it's real when it hits home. And the sad thing is, being in this line of work, Boysen, we're going to see it happen. You know, we're going to see it happen because men come to these spaces because for many of them, it's their last option. You know, you said something there. You said suicided as opposed to took their life or committed suicide. That's a new one for me. I'm curious if you can illuminate that.
Murdered, killed, suicided. It is an action, right? It is something that was done. Active verb.
Got you.
It's just language.
Just language. Cool. I wasn't sure if it was.
And so also I'm just going to say QPR. So question, persuade, refer training. So the QPR Institute, look it up online. Very simple, very short training. It boils down to question, persuade, refer. Question: do you have a plan? Do you know what that plan is? Get answers to these questions. Make it transparent. If somebody has a plan, if they're thinking about it, persuade. Will you wait this long? Will you wait till we can connect you with somebody else? Will you take this action now? Persuade. And refer to an expert. I am not a suicide prevention expert. refer to somebody with professional capacity.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to call 911.
Mental health check.
Yes.
Yeah. There's for the Q, the question, I think the goat of all questions, just because people might be thinking, how do I start that conversation? And it's just, if you have a hunch that someone's carrying something, hiding something, and trust your gut on this one, because whatever resistance you have to ask this question is far less than what could potentially happen. And it's, are you okay? Followed by, no, really, are you okay?
And if you get a no, I'm not okay, or if you get a suspicion around that, you can be even more direct. Mm-hmm. Are you thinking about hurting yourself?
Mm-hmm. I heard someone use this before with the plan was, can you make calling me a part of your plan? One of your first steps.
Thank you.
Boysen, it's always a pleasure, regardless of the subject that we're diving into, just to share space with you, man. It's been probably a month since we've done this, and I just appreciate you. I appreciate your perspective, and I don't know, you're so poetic. I feel like I'm just a layman that blurts things out without processing them too much, and you're like, ooh, quote some text of blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, I learn a lot from you. I appreciate it.
I love you, Brandon. You're the bomb. Yeah, everybody out there, deep breath. Deep breath. Slow exhale. You are somebody. Thanks for being here.
Delete your social media. Lots of love. We'll see you next week. This has been another episode of the Mankind Podcast, produced in association with the Mankind Project USA. We have been your hosts, Boysen Hodgson, and myself, Brandon Clift, and we want to thank our guests for joining us today and imparting their wisdom from their experiences in this amazing journey called life. If you want to find out more about today's guests and support them in their mission, you can find links to them in the show notes. Now, if you have found gold and insights that you believe could benefit your loved ones and those you care about, be sure to share it with them. And of course, we are always grateful for a rating and review of the show on iTunes. Now, above all else, we've got to thank you, the listener, because through your attention and your support, you have made it possible for us to let men all over the world know that they are not alone and that there is more than one way to be a man. And if something in this episode has touched you, then perhaps it is the call to action to get involved in men's work. With live trainings happening constantly and in-person trainings happening all over the world, the Mankind Project definitely has something for you. Now, if you've enjoyed the music in this episode and all of our episodes, be sure to check out Jim Donovan and the Sun King Warriors. I have links to them in the show notes. And lastly, just know, what it means to me to be a man is completely different than what it means for you. That is the beauty of this journey. So if you are looking for guidance, support, and community as you begin to unpack and dive deeper into your men's work journey, then you know where to find us. Same place, same time, next week. Lots of love. We'll see you then.
Hey, it's Boysen here with the Mankind Podcast. We are closing in on 100 5-star reviews of this podcast, and we have a goal. Brandon and I want to get to 250 5-star reviews. So help us out, will you? Please go to the Mankind Podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and leave us a review. Thank you. Hey, it's Boysen. On the Mankind podcast, we've brought some incredible guests on to talk about the importance of doing the work to improve our mental and emotional health. And here's the truth. Multiple times over the last 25 years, I've had the help of one-on-one work with some amazing therapists. For me, for my wife, for both of us as adoptive parents, and for our kids. The Mankind Project and Men's Group, though awesome, are not a substitute for professional mental health support. And so I'm thrilled that the Mankind Podcast now has BetterHelp as a sponsor for the show. BetterHelp works online. It asks you what you're working on and then matches you for live one-on-one sessions with a licensed therapist, someone trained to work with you, listen, and offer helpful insights. I'm using BetterHelp. It's super easy, and I like what I'm getting. If getting one-on-one support in the comfort of your own space feels like a good direction for you, I invite you to check it out. Go to the link in the show notes or betterhelp.com/mankind. And if you sign up, you'll get 10% off your first month of therapy.